Hello, Empower Alpha family. So glad to see so many of you already here. This has been a long time coming. JC and I are super excited to, one, have you on this call, two, get you up to speed on what we've been up to this past year, and then three, most importantly, talk about the future, how we're going to be going with the beta launch, how you can own a share of the platform and help us launch it in your own city or town. So a lot of exciting things on this call. I'm just going to give maybe 30 seconds to give people a little bit more time to come in, and then we will hand it off to JC and we can get started with the agenda. So please feel free to type anything that you want in the chat, including questions along the way. We'll be answering questions at the end. So we'll be just accumulating a list of questions as we go. But yeah, again, really excited to see so many of you here, and looking forward to getting you up to speed and then getting back to work together and making this a great year. So with that said, let me hand it over to JC and we can get going.
All right, thank you, Brian. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. As Brian said, we are just absolutely delighted to have this opportunity to speak. We haven't spoken with most of you in exactly 1 year since our alpha got shut down. And so, first of all, I got to tell you, we missed you. It has been a crazy year, hasn't it? Been with the coronavirus. I know it's affected everyone everywhere. We're always taught, we have a ton of product people and engineers that have been working on the products that we'll show you in a moment, scattered all over the world. And so everyone has been going through the exact same thing. It's the first time, it's certainly in my lifetime, that anything like that has happened where everyone's going through something crazy together. And you know, today, Brian and I are just absolutely delighted, and we feel honored for the opportunity to announce some things we hope you will enjoy. Items that the team here has been working on for you for exactly 1 year, since last January when we shut down the alpha product. So what we're gonna talk about are gonna include an update on the Empower mission. It's been updated, platform and the beta launch, the products, how you can secure your very own piece of the beta platform. We're talking about an opportunity to receive your own exclusive territory right where you live, for you to actually own that. You would own it, you would manage it, and you can sell it. And how you can earn by managing your territory in 11 different ways. So it's been a busy year. By the way, when I say territory from now on in this on this call, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your exclusive territory. And if I say manager, that's what I'm referring to, a person that owns their territory and manages it. So that's what I mean by the term manager. We're also going to give you an update on your old Empower coins. I know many of you want to know about that, as well as how you can get the new beta coins completely for free, and a whole lot more. And so on that note, let me walk you through the agenda. And by the way, if you don't know me, if you haven't seen me, I usually have a big yellow smiley face on. That's JC is the name you know me by. I'm also known as Mike. I haven't worn the JC hat for a while now because we haven't been posting, right, in Empower. And so what we'd like to cover today is, first of all, the mission, a reminder, and an update. There's going to be some new people joining us as well that may not be aware of it. So I'm going to walk through that and tell you how it's been updated based on what we've accomplished in this last year. A timeline, a historical timeline, what happened in 2020 and before, and where are we now? Then we'll talk about the beta launch. Specifically, how do we go to market? How are we going to do this? The opportunity for managers, right? That's what a lot of this is going to be about. For people that want to own their own piece of the Empower product locally and own their territory, that's, you know, they're called managers. And so what's that opportunity like? How does it work? I'm going to walk you through the earnings calculator. It's a tool that we built for you to be able to calculate how much you'll earn. And so through that, we'll also learn all the different ways that managers earn. Again, managers are the folks that own their territory. What does the work look like? How hard or how easy is it? The organization, positions, and tracks. And so we're going to have thousands of territories, obviously managed by local managers that own their territory. So what are the different positions? How do we manage an organization of that size? And what are these tracks? We'll get into all that. The cryptocurrency. Let's talk about your old coins and your new coins. Like every new endeavor, there's going to be some rules and expectations, policies. What costs might you have? What bonuses? What to expect when selling your business? And by the way, your territory would be your business. You not only earn from it in 11 different ways, but you can sell it as well. A quick reality check. Let's talk about who this opportunity is not for and who is it especially for. And then we'll jump over and see what are the next steps. Brian is going to help us walk through what the steps are to secure your very own exclusive territory. And then we'll get to the conclusion, talk about what we're going to accomplish together this year, and get to some questions and answers, as Brian said. And so there is a lot to cover today. I'm going to try to remember to talk slowly, but I also want to move it along pretty quickly because there's a lot to cover. By the way, don't worry, you don't need to take notes. We are recording this, and we're going to give you a link to watch it at the end. So you can go back to any part of it, play it at your own speed and at your own convenience. And so you don't have to take notes. Just sit back, kick your feet up, have a cup of coffee, and enjoy everything that we've been working for you for this last year. By the way, I was just informed that the building we live in, the alarm is going to go off here. They're testing the alarm. So crazy coincidence on timing. But if that happens, what we'll have to do is just take a quick break. We'll leave the camera on. We'll leave everything on here. Wait till the noise stops. But they're going to do some testing of the system today. So if that happens, I apologize. It'll probably happen in about an hour from now, if it happens. And if it happens, we'll just go on pause, take a break, hit the restroom, get some coffee. It'll be a nice little intermission. So on that note, let's get started. So the mission, a reminder and an update. So as a reminder, income inequality, the share of income in most countries and globally going to the top 1%, it's been getting better for a century now, right? As you can see from that red line, the percent of income going to the top 1%, getting better, and then something changed. That something was the internet. The internet made it easy for people with a lot of money to get out there and monopolize entire global industries. Just think of, Uber and Lyft monopolizing the taxi business, right? Before them, every, taxi was owned by one person, or maybe one person owned 4 or 5 taxis, but the wealth was distributed massively to millions and millions of taxi drivers around the world. Now you have Uber and Lyft coming up, and what's happening is it's creating a small number of billionaires, 2 or 3 founders, a bunch of billionaires, investors, and maybe a few thousand tech workers that are doing okay, and then millions of drivers, right, that are basically becoming slaves to these machines. Why do I say slaves to the machine? It's because these companies that are monopolizing these verticals, these industries, are Wall Street funded. And Wall Street cares about one thing, the stock price, right? Which is based on the company hitting its profit targets. And so think about what profit means. It means revenue minus cost. The major cost they have is paying the drivers. And so after they monopolize their industries, the way they can keep that profit line going up, even when the revenues start to slow down, is by paying the drivers less and less. And that squeezes the drivers and they have nowhere else to go. And so it's not just Uber and Lyft. Think of Amazon, think of Facebook, think of Google, think of all of these companies, many of which you and I haven't even heard of, that are in the business to business space, that are monopolizing global industries. And many people, soon to be most people, are making money from these platforms directly or indirectly. And the result of that is that red line going up. Now, here's the problem with that. When income inequality starts rising like that, people start to feel hopeless, right? They start to not be as optimistic about their future economically, right? And so what happens is they become easy targets for populist movements, for a president that might come in and promise them something that they can't really deliver on, just deliver false hope, right? You see this happening around the world, from Brazil to Italy. You see what's happening with Brexit. Here in the US, we had a populist president 4 years ago, and around the world, this is happening because people are feeling hopeless. And so when these populist governments are put in place, bad things starts to happen. Listen, after World War I, the Germans were feeling economically pinched. They were feeling hopeless. And along comes a guy named Hitler who says, you know what, elect me and I'm going to put a chicken in every pot and a Volkswagen in every garage. They elected him and we saw what happened after that. This is what happens as a side effect of that red line. We wrote about this in our book. If you haven't seen our book on Amazon, just go type it up there. It's Empower. Look it up on Amazon. And it was written in 2014, 7 years ago, before all these populist movements. And what we said was, if that red line continues, bad things are going to start happening, and you've seen it happening everywhere. So imagine a Facebook that pays all its users for the value they're creating. Think about it. Facebook's value, almost all the value comes from the users, from their posting and sharing, right? Now, today, Facebook has more revenue than most countries on the planet. Let me say that again. Facebook has more revenue than most countries on the planet. It takes all of that revenue and a lot of its profits, and it hoards it. It keeps it, because if it spends it on its users, well, that wouldn't be a profit, right? And down would go its stock price, and employees would leave, and many bad things would happen to that company because it's Wall Street funded. So imagine a company that builds something like what Facebook has, but takes all those profits and pumps it back to its users. Just imagine what would happen if Facebook did that. Well, you know what? That red line would turn around if Facebook could do that. But they can't do that because they have to keep showing more and more profits to Wall Street. So this is why we said no when a billionaire like this fellow that owns Expedia.com and Hotels.com, Trivago, just dozens and dozens of properties, we said no to this fellow when he offered us a massive offer. Same thing with the Rockefellers when they made two offers to us over a 3-year period. This fellow here is, many call him the guy with the Midas touch. He's the first investor in Google, in Amazon, in many companies around the world. And he gave us this offer here. And at the time, valued us at 180 million. And we said no to that. And he claimed it was the highest price ever placed by him in his 40 years investing. And we walked away for one singular reason. And that was, if we get so lucky to get to where we are now, where we're ready to go to market, and we'll get into all that in a second, that we owe nothing to Wall Street. So we can take those revenues and the profits and pump it back to the users. Now, imagine when the users get all those profits, if they can spend it with one click in the marketplace. That means anybody trying to sell something, products or services, will find customers very easily. Those of you that remember the trust flow, and when we were focused on that, remember what I'm talking about. It's much easier to find a customer when everybody's getting paid by posting and sharing. And so all of that's what we built, as you may know. So the platform was funded with $250 million US dollars. About 2/3 of that came from our patents, and about 1/3 of it came from our alpha citizens and revenue. Still, today, even with all of the work we did this last year, which we'll get into in a moment, zero from investors, so that we could stay true to the mission and turn that red line around. Now, there's another problem facing humanity, and it's this problem, right? CO2 being emitted worldwide. Some of you know about, the flooding it's causing, the fires it's causing here in California, the people that are being displaced from their homes. Listen, when you grow your food from the ground and you get a flood or a drought, you have no choice but to move your family or you will die. And this starts with increasing CO2 levels, right? And what happens when CO2 starts to rise, temperatures start to go up, right? That leads to more extreme weather, which leads to rising sea levels, which further increases CO2 levels, and around it goes. And the impact this has on climate change, the climate change has on human health, is profound. I'm not going to go into all these things right here, but like I said, we're recording all this. Feel free to check it out later and go deep yourself. But this problem starts with rising CO2, and it's an existential threat facing humanity. So our vision is to provide all of the logistics required to enable the sharing of everything. I'm talking about just about any kind of product you can imagine. Now, what am I talking about with logistics? I'm talking about the ability to open up your mobile phone, just as if you were getting an Uber or a Lyft, a ride, find camping gear if you're going camping this weekend, and press a button, and within an hour, someone brings it to you, right? And when you're done camping, you press a button, someone comes and takes it away. So instead of spending hundreds of dollars or in your local currency for camping gear, and then afterwards having to deal with maintaining it, storing it, all that, you press a button, someone comes and takes it away. So it's very convenient, right? But it takes a lot of logistics, everything from transport to collateral. Like, what if the person that borrows it steals it or breaks it? How does that work? Customer service, there's a lot that has to happen there. Now, the result for consumers is near complete abundance. It starts with that, the ability to have almost anything you need in your hands within an hour. That's complete abundance, right? And just about any kind of product you can imagine. The second thing is unparalleled convenience. It's more convenient than buying something, right? If I need camping gear, I don't have to deal with, well, which one do I buy? What kind of research do I need to do? How am I going to store it? It's so convenient and I can have it quickly, right? That's why we call it everything fast and free. The everything is the abundance, right? Fast is in your hands within 1 hour. And the free, it's not actually completely free. So imagine the camping gear if I'm spending a few dollars a day or in the local currency to get it, but I'm earning those few dollars a day from my posting and sharing, things that I'm used to doing for free. So in that way, it really becomes free. And then if you're the person who has the camping gear or the bike or the lawnmower or any product, well, guess what? Fantastic earnings for you to want to rent out your camping gear. But wait a minute, how does this help the planet, right? Well, it successfully uses that abundance, the convenience, and the earnings that we talked about to successfully promote the sharing of nearly everything over everyone owning one of everything. Does that make sense? Even when it's, if you have the money to buy camping gear, it's just more convenient and cheaper to rent it. And so that's how we can help collapse the consumption of natural resources for manufacturing millions of things each day that are hardly used, like the camping gear that spends 99% of its lifetime in the garage or in storage, and in the process, pollution and CO2 emissions. And that's how we attack the climate crisis. Now, since 1 year ago, as we got focused on going to market, the way we're going to go to market is local territories. You'll learn all about that in here in just a moment. But something's been added to our mission, and that is, as we've been working with small merchants and restaurants and stores, what we've learned about them is they're being pushed out of business by the big Amazons and Walmarts and the big stores in your country and city that have the funds and the ability to provide a good web or app interface and delivery are pushing them out of business. And small businesses are really the backbone of all countries in the world. They're being pushed out of business. And this was before COVID-19, right? And so as part of our mission, the third thing we're doing is we're helping these merchants fight back, as you'll learn more here in a moment. But just to kind of tell you how we do that, the first thing we do is we ask for a discount from the local merchants that we're going to give to the consumers, the students that we're going to be bringing in, as you'll learn in a second. The next thing we do is we introduce them to this one-click advertising product where they literally take a slider and slide it to the right, and that's how they determine how much advertising they want to use. It's simplified, no ads to create, no content, no monitoring ads, and guaranteed revenue. In other words, they will never spend money on advertising if they're not generating more than that in revenue. How do you like that, right? It's unheard of. No advertising provides a guarantee. Ours does, because it allows these merchants to focus on what they do best instead of when they buy ads on Facebook or Google, they turn around and they deal with a customer, they come back and their whole budget's gone. And there's no guarantees whatsoever. And it's complicated and they have to monitor, they have to try different ads. And it's just very complicated for a small business person to run. And in the end, they end up losing thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And so we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. And so now they can start to get in the game of getting advertising that works for them. The next thing we do is we integrate them into our platform so that all the consumers using our platform can buy with them with one click. Look, here in the US, the reason a lot of us use Amazon is because we like how convenient it is, right? We see what we want, one click, and it's on its way. Well, these small businesses either don't have a good website or app to make it that convenient for people to purchase. And even if they do have a website or an app, it's clunky, it's not convenient, the consumers don't have access to it, they don't know where it is, and so they just go to Amazon to buy it. You see the problem? And so what we're gonna do is integrate these merchants into our platform so all the consumers can buy in an environment that's just as efficient. But guess what? Our consumers will all be earning by posting and sharing. So they'll have money already in their accounts too. So not only will they have some money that they can spend, but as you'll see, they'll also get a discount, as I talked about here in number one there. And so when all else being equal, they'll go, why would I want to buy this from an Amazon or a Walmart when I can buy it from the local merchant? I've got these funds in my system I can use, and that changes the game, right? But there's another thing. There's another reason why we like to, here in the US, we like to shop on Amazon, and that is, with Amazon Prime, which costs about $100 a year, we get shipping in 2 days, right? What we're gonna do is change the game. We're gonna make it so when people buy from the local merchants, they get shipping within 1 hour delivery to them, just like food delivery, but from shops as well. When you order from a restaurant, well, of course you get your food in less than an hour. We're gonna do the same thing with all stores. So think of it from a consumer's perspective, who's thinking, wow, I could buy from the local merchant, it's convenient, I've got funds already, they're providing a discount to me through this platform, and I'll have it in my hands in 1 hour or less, not 2 days, right? Isn't that amazing? It's a game changer for these merchants. And then finally, we'll introduce the merchants to that everything fast and free that we talked about, sharing, renting things, which is a brand new revenue stream for them that's very hard for a Walmart, an Amazon, or the big stores in your area to compete with. Because if they're a lawnmower store and they start renting those out and we're providing all of the transport, all of the collateral, all of the customer service, everything it takes to make that convenient for them, well, all they have to do is be an expert at lawnmowers, right? Because every 10 or 15 times that lawnmower comes back to them, it needs to be serviced. Very hard for an Amazon or Walmart to be in each neighborhood and have an expert there. If it's clothing, every few times it needs to be dry cleaned. No matter what the product is, it takes some expertise, and that gives them a way to fight back as well, and a brand new revenue stream for them. And all be told, it really puts them back in control. It helps merchants fight back and not just survive now, but thrive. One more thing about the mission, the fourth area and last area. As you may or may not know, social media, Facebook, the Twitters of the world, Snapchat, what have you, they're causing depression and suicide in teens. If you look at the lines that show depression, it starts taking off right when Facebook and other social media come into the hands of teenagers, right? It's causing an inability to know what's true and what isn't true. I can tell you here in the US, half the country believe this election we just went through was a hoax. It was fraudulent. And the other half don't think so. A portion of our country think that COVID-19 is not real, right? Because they're getting their news from social media, and it's caused by these algorithms that kind of tell you what you want to hear in order to get you to stay on longer and drive those eyeballs to the advertisers. And as a result of that, it's causing political polarization and an inability to compromise, which is essential for democracy. You've got politicians that have to listen to what their constituents are saying, even if what they're saying is not based in reality. And the result of that is democracy is dying right in front of us all over the world. You don't believe me? Look at what we just went through here at the Capitol. This is dangerous, folks. So this is caused by social media, by the fact that the algorithms are training people to just basically tell them what they want to hear and create the impression that everybody else believes what they believe too. It's called the echo chamber, right? It's causing the rapid decay of democracy. So basically division amongst people, irreparable damage to people, to kids, to families, to countries, and to humanity. By the way, says who? Says the ex-president of Facebook. Says the ex-head of monetization of Facebook. Says executives from Google, from Twitter, from Pinterest, and virtually all the top tech firms. A bunch of them have left. If you haven't watched this film, it's called The Social Dilemma. It just came out a few months ago on Netflix. You should watch it. and see these people that I'm talking about here mention that what they created is destroying the world and it must be stopped. And they don't know what to do about it. Well, guess what? You and I have worked on that solution for years. It's a solution that completely reimagines the way the content is served up in social media. For those of you that know what I'm talking about the trust flow, where you're moving from person to person, not going to a feed where that's trying to figure out what to show you and creating echo chambers, but from person to person that's based on economic value to you, not economic value to the platform so that it can make more profits. Does that make sense? So in the process, we're going to eliminate or near eliminate fake news, echo chambers, this vanity competition where everybody on Facebook thinks everybody else's life is better than theirs, depression, suicide that's being caused by social media, and this political polarization and the decay of democracy. Folks, last century, humanity gave up over 100 million lives in the pursuit of democracy to fight dictatorship and other forms of fascism and other types of government. And now we see it just completely getting destroyed right in front of our eyes. And so with our trust flow, we think we can eliminate or near eliminate the damage being done to virtually everything that matters to humanity. Listen, there's almost no other organization or platform that we're aware of, or anyone that we've met is aware of, that has the potential to solve so many of the world's problems. And we're talking about income inequality. We're talking about the existential threat to the planet, what's being done to millions of stores and restaurants around the world, and finally to democracy. This is a fight that's worth fighting. And this is why we've all done what we've done. This is why we have so many people that have been working so hard on the platform. You saw Brian, the president that you elected many years ago. I can tell you in all of the last 4 or 5 years, he hasn't earned a single dollar from this platform. So why is he doing it? And I can tell you he works 7 days a week because we don't have enough money to have to hire people to bring him help, right? And many others, Bob Poster, many of the other engineers have been working on this platform. This is what motivates us. We cannot think of a better purpose of what to do with our lives than to attack those 4 things. And so thank you. I know you guys are mostly aware of these things. I mean, you may not have been aware of what we're doing with the small merchants as a side effect of what we've done this last year, but let's get on to the timeline. Let's talk about what happened in 2020, this last year, and where are we now? So as you know, we were founded in the year 2000. We spent many years building up all the tools and technologies. We've had over 1,000 product and engineering professionals quietly develop all the things that you wanted us to build. And with all of those things, they don't always go right the first time. So with many things we got right, it took 3, 4, 5 different products until we got it right, as you know. And the great thing that I think we did, if we did one thing right, is that we did all this with guidance from our community. As you know, we had thousands of blog posts. We were always talking to the community and getting feedback, and through our success coaches, guides, getting input on what we need to build. And that's how together we became really smart, right? It wasn't that we had someone genius in the platform that made all these decisions. It was that we used our collective intelligence, through our community. But the smartest person in our room is all of us together. And that's how we came up with so many of the great inventions that we had. You might remember we invented many of the things that now people are using out there. For example, virtual currency. We own the patent, as you might remember, on virtual currency. Applications and social networks. So Facebook apps, Twitter apps, Snapchat apps, any social platform that offers developers a chance to launch an app in their platform, that is our patent. We got there first, as you might know. Transactions within apps, there's billions and billions of dollars in revenue happening globally from transactions within apps. We own the patent on that from the US Patent Office. Any kind of transaction over a mobile device and a ton of other patents. Again, if you want to see these, go to google.com/patents. That is their patent search tool, and enter into the search box, POUSTI, right? And what you'll see is that not only you'll see our patents, but you'll see a ton of patents from Google, from Microsoft, from a ton of other companies. And the reason you see that is because in their own patent filings, they're referring to our patents in order to stop the patent office from blocking them. They're saying, hey, patent office, When you see this, you're going to think these guys did it first. No, don't block us. We're aware of them. We're different like this. And so that's why they name our patents in their patent portfolio. And so all of that happened in 2018 and before. We developed a social network that pays everyone. Again, you might remember it's a ton of things we had to accomplish. We spent 3 or 4 years just building the technology it takes to fight fraud. Just think about that. If you're paying people for posting and sharing, you're going to get people creating many accounts or using bots, right? Of course, because it's that easy to earn. And so it takes a ton of technology to fight that. And until you get that right, you have nothing, because someone's going to come in, build a bot, and act as if there are hundreds of thousands of people themselves and get all the earnings for themselves. So until you can get that right, you have nothing. We spent a ton of time together building that. The marketplace that integrates into the social network, that for products, for services, fixed price, auction, everything it took for someone that isn't a business person to take that to market and not even have to buy advertising. You might remember virtual currency, which we then spent a year together replacing with cryptocurrency when that came out, the trust flow, so that we could attack everything we talked about that's wrong with social media, as well as a way for users to get buyers without paying for ads. Think about that. If we build the marketplace and the social network, but if we expect everybody to buy advertising, well, then how is some poor lady in Kenya going to get customers? Isn't that who we're trying to help? And so if she has to come to the platform with money to buy ads, then we're fooling ourselves, right? Well, then it's just yet another way for people to make a lot of profits here and not really a way to help people. The trust flow solved that, remember? So when you close loops with people, they come back and close loops with you, and you can pretty much be assured that you're going to get hundreds of people visiting your profile every day where you can sell products and services. Then we had a ton of crowdsourced work features, like for the guides, success coaches, and 100 other features, including being the first platform out there to go democratic, right? To have the actual head of the platform in the company be elected by our users. And as you might remember, Brian was our first democratically elected president. After you elected him to be president, he left his job at the university up in LA and sold his house, came to San Diego, and took the helm of the company. Now, here's the challenge. Remember this. To be truly useful, the platform must have a local critical mass of users, right? Here's a good analogy. Think about Uber, right? A rideshare app. It doesn't matter how much technology they have. When you want to download that app and you need a ride to the airport, if you download it and you wait an hour and there's no driver because there's not enough people in your area, you're going to miss your flight and you're never going to use that app again. There is no value to that app unless there's enough users in it locally in your area. Does that make sense? On the flip side, if you're a driver, you download the app, you say, I'll give it a try. Let me see if I can make some money, right? And so you wait an hour, there's no passengers right there, or the closest passenger that needs a ride is 50 or 100 kilometers away. Not going to work, right? You have nothing. And so that's where we left off, if you can remember back then. We need a local critical mass. And so the question becomes, how do we go to market? And let me remind you that Uber and Lyft and Amazon and Facebook, you name it, you name the company, after building their products, they raised billions of dollars to spend on marketing to bring in lots of people into the platform fast. So the real question is, how do we get a critical mass of users at a local level without taking money from investors? Because if we now take money from investors, guess what? This platform will slowly but surely become yet another way for a small number of founders and investors to become crazy rich. Remember, every quarter, Wall Street's going to want profits, which means keep pulling money away from the people you're trying to serve to keep that profit line going up. Otherwise, the stock price goes down, employees leave, bad things happen. So this is the challenge. This is not a small challenge. We're literally talking about not raising billions of dollars, just like what we did with the product, right? In building the product, now we have to accomplish the same thing. So in 2019, we asked our Empower Alpha community, we said, let's get out there and test the different ways to go to market, right? There's so many different ways we could go. We had a lot of stay-at-home moms, for example, that were looking for a way to earn but didn't, want to leave the house, couldn't drive an Uber because they have a baby, right? So there's so many different ways to go to market. And many of you stepped up to help us test the different ways. And, maybe you can see your name up there right now. Let me just give you a minute to see if you see your name. I just want to thank you for all that time that you put in if your name's up there. By the way, if you don't see your name in there, maybe it's on this second sheet. Take a look there, see if you see your name. It is, each column is alphabetical, but the whole thing, unfortunately, is not alphabetical. And if you don't see your name there, it might be on this third and final sheet. If your name is there, thank you so much for all the time, all the effort, all the energy you put into the platform and helping us figure out the right way to go to market in the year 2019. Just a tremendous amount of effort was put in to figure out the right way to go to market. And so what did we decide? The community chose the college market, right? And that's it. That's how we're going to market. That's what we decided towards the end of 2019. And you might remember that Facebook went to market through the college market as well. It turns out, coincidentally. It's a great market because what you have in a college community is sometimes in a 1 or 2 or 3 mile or kilometer square area, you sometimes have thousands, if not tens of thousands of students living there sometimes, but certainly coming to school there. And so it's a great concentrated place to go. And also students are very open-minded about new products. They don't mind trying new products. As you get older, you get set in your ways. They love trying new things. And then finally, they really are into our mission, it turns out, right? They care about climate. They care about income inequality. They care about these things more than most people as a demographic. So it was perfect and a great decision. And so going to market in the college market. And so what happened in 2020? As you may know, we shut down the alpha product in that first week of January, pretty much 1 year ago, so that we could focus all of our resources, our people and our capital, our money, exclusively on that college marketing approach. Our servers alone were costing us over $1 million a year just hosting. And of course, it had everyone busy serving the customers. And we realized if we keep doing that, we're gonna have less resources, less time, less energy, less money to focus on figuring out how do we go to market via the college market. It's not good enough to just say we're going to the college market. How? How are we gonna do this without raising capital, right? And so we didn't know if that approach is gonna take us a few months to figure out or a few years to figure out. All we knew is we have to figure it out, right? Based on the mission, these things that are happening that virtually no one is focused on, we have to figure it out. So like everything else that we do, we made a hard decision. We shut down the alpha product and we got focused on figuring out how do we go to market. We started with some of our mighty alpha citizens. Let me put a few of their names on the screen right now. These folks got busy with us, just starting with absolutely nothing. No tools, no technology, no scripts, no anything. They went out and started contacting merchants. And we got hit with COVID in March, which really made it even more challenging. All the stores shut down, the schools shut down. So they had some real challenges in front of them. But what they accomplished is they signed up thousands of merchants and they figured out a lot of things, including if we were to make that focus into a business opportunity, what it would look like. What products would they need? What technologies would they need? What would the local businesses need? What would the manager need that's managing that process? If we're going to use college students to do some of the work, what tools do they need? What training do we need? What kinds of people do we need managing this whole thing? What kind of experience could we use? Bringing people in who could bring us that experience so we could learn faster. All of that was figured out by our alpha citizens, and our engineers got to work building a lot of the things that they told us, and then we got hit with COVID. Meanwhile, when we got hit with COVID, we said, look, we're stuck at home. Let's get busy finding experts. And so we recruited over 25 college marketing experts. These are people that helped us design the marketing program, the compensation, assets. How do we turn this into a business? So these folks each of them has built their own multi-million-dollar business in the college market. Every one of them has done that and can prove it. That involves recruiting and managing college students. How cool is that? We found over 25 of these people out there that have that background and that experience, and we brought them in. We told them about our mission. We told them about what you guys had built. We told them about everything that we've done together, and they all got very, very excited and jumped in. And so after spending nearly all of 2020 helping us build out everything that's needed, these experts are now ready to train, to coach, and to help our alpha citizens that are interested in building this business, grabbing their territory and managing their own territory and making it easy for them to succeed. And so that is what we did with our alpha users and then these 25 experts. And so everything needed to create a massive business opportunity for local managers was built. And so, by the way, what products are required to turn that into a business opportunity so they can go out there and do the user acquisition? So obviously we need the social network. And you might remember our social network was on the web, right? Well, as you know, we had to turn it into mobile. These days, everybody's on mobile. And so we've got a we've turned it into a mobile app. It's really cool. The swiping is fun. This is where we need to be, right? And so we spent a lot of time getting that ready on mobile. Now, instead of clicking a button to swipe, you just, take the photo and swipe it up or swipe it to the left. It's really, really fun. We needed a messenger. We want to go to battle with some of the players out there, and we need a way for people to be able to communicate efficiently through an app. So we built a messenger. It's a lot like WhatsApp. The marketplace you're familiar with, but also needs to be available through mobile apps. And so that's what we have been focused on, turning from web to mobile. Now, at the local level, consumers want to order food or products, as we talked about, from mobile apps. And so we built the apps that takes. And then, so when you order food or you order something from the merchant needs to be able to see that. And the drivers need to be able to see that. So we've got apps for the merchants on tablets and on the web where the order comes in and they can see where it's at and which order is where. Is the driver on the way or is the driver taken off in case the customer contacts them? There's a lot of moving parts to that. And of course, the drivers need to get, realize there's an order. They can go pick it up and take it to the customer. So all of that had to be built. Of course, we need currency, cryptocurrency. And then finally, all of the people doing the work, the merchants need special software, right, to manage their transactions, to cash out. Managers need that. I'm talking about people who manage their territories, an opportunity that we're making available to everyone, but our alpha citizens as well, as you'll learn in a second. And then the student workers need their own CRMs, which is a customer relationship management application. So we've spent a ton of time building all of that stuff so everyone can see the transactions, everyone can cash out. And by the way, everything that the managers earn and the merchants earn and the student workers earn is in the local currency, not in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is for the consumers in the platform, right? But in this side, in the management of the territories, it's all done with local currency, US dollar here and over 100 different currencies around the world. And all of those tightly integrated into one singular, seamless, unified platform that there's nothing like it out there. You've seen these pieces from various platforms and companies, but you've never seen it in one singular platform. But we had to build all these things in order to create an opportunity for people to do marketing at the local level. I hope that makes sense. Again, to be truly useful, the platform must have a local critical mass of users, and we're going to do that through the college market. And so that takes us to the beta launch. How are we going to go to market? So again, need to have a local critical mass. We're doing that through the college market. Question, how do we attract college students to the platform? Well, here's a fact. College students love student discounts, right? And I know we all love discounts. They love student discounts. Once they find out that a taco shop or a store is offering discount, they tell each other, right? Word spreads like crazy because they hate to pay full price. And so question, how do we attract college students? The answer is we're going to secure student discounts for them from local shops and restaurants. Here's how it works. We call local shops and restaurants and offer them free promotions. We're going to promote them for free in exchange for offering a student discount to our students. Okay, so we've developed and tested a simple but very highly effective approach to signing up merchants. In fact, 75% of stores and restaurants say yes to our offer to them. Isn't that incredible? 75% say yes, because how can they say no? We're going to promote them for free, right? And all they have to do is help out local students by providing them a discount. Obviously, that discount doesn't cost them anything until the student comes in. So unlike all advertising, they don't have to pay a penny. They don't risk a penny there, right? And so 75% of them say yes. We then hire college students to promote the merchants. So how do they do that? How do the college students promote the merchants? They basically hand out these $100 bills. And in local territories, it'll be, obviously in the local currency. But here in the US, it's a $100 bill with a list of merchants on it, and they hand it out. They hand it out to students and say, here, here's $100 you can spend at all these local merchants. Who says no to that, right? By the way, students also notice these window stickers that get placed on the windows of the stores and restaurants that offer the discount. So even if they haven't received one of those $100 bills, 2 or 3 students are going to the store or the restaurant together, they see this sticker and they're like, oh, wow, I should ask for a discount, right? They love discounts. If they forget, no problem. When they get to the cash register, again, there's a display there on the counter that says, ask for your student discount here. Simple as that. Now, to get their $100 in discounts, they basically just have to register for our product for free. And when they do that, they learn that they can also earn daily by posting and sharing, as you know so well, right? And they learn about that. And so basically college students love discounts, so they sign up for the platform. And that's how we achieve critical mass at a local level. And it doesn't take long for word to start to spread, because when one person is getting the discount, and students love to travel together, right? And he or she goes to the restaurant with their 2 or 3 friends, the other 2 or 3 friends say, hey, how do I get that discount? And right there, it shows them how to do that right at the counter displays. Oh, you just have to sign up for this thing. It's free. And so they sign up. And then next week, when they're going with their friends to a store or a restaurant, their other friends say, hey, how do I do that? I want that. Oh, yeah, it's easy. Just sign up here. And word starts to spread like crazy until 80 or 90% of the students know about the platform because they get the discounts for free. And then they learn they can earn by posting and sharing. And that's how we get to a critical mass at a local level. Now, listen, take a moment to think back to your alpha days, right? You remember when you were closing loops? You remember that? Now, imagine if all those people you were closing loops with were your neighbors, or people that, as a student, go to your school. So it's basically, imagine if every person you saw was someone you already know, even if you just joined the platform. Oh, look, there's Sally. Oh, look, there's Joe. So you either know them or there's someone you wouldn't mind knowing. Doesn't that change the game? Wouldn't that product be a lot more fun just from the fact that you know these people? Like, what are they saying? What are they doing? What are they selling? What are they sharing? It's instantly fun. Who else is there? I can't wait to get on tomorrow and see who else is there. I can't wait to tell my roommates, hey, check this thing out. This is cool. And I get all these discounts and what have you. And I'm earning daily by just hanging out with friends. And imagine if there were no shipping costs ever for the products you buy and sell and share. Do you remember when you were selling stuff, how difficult that was because you had to ship it hundreds, if not thousands of miles away? Now imagine every person you see is right there. And so you could say, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll drop it off at the library for you. I'll see you at wherever. It's fun. It's a chance to say hi to them and see them for a minute or two. People that you're seeing in the trust flow every day, well, how fun would that be? And there's never a shipping cost. Just imagine the difference in experience that would have made if we had that local critical mass then. It would be like night and day, right? Again, imagine Uber if there was no drivers that were local to you. It doesn't work. That's the issue that we had with our product. And it's amazing that we had so many people using it, like you folks, because you were into the mission and you liked what we were doing. But really, if you think about it, it was like an Uber that didn't work, right? Just imagine if you wanted a ride and there's no drivers. The product doesn't work. Same thing if you're a driver and are looking for passengers. It doesn't work. So in order to be an amazing product, we need a critical mass of users at a local level. And now we're going to have it, right? The beta will launch territory by territory. Each territory is going to get a manager and they hire the college students. We'll talk about all that in just a moment. And as each territory gets to 200 signups, the product goes live right then. So never again will our product be available for use in any area if there's no critical mass in that area. Does that make sense? So in Albuquerque, New Mexico, if there's not a local community, no one's going to use it. Think about that. That means our Uber, if you will, is never going to have someone download it and not get a ride and go, I hate this thing. It's never going to happen again, right? And so what's our current status? So we've signed up thousands of stores and restaurants to provide discounts. So we've got that thing down. And by the way, let me tell you how easy this is. This is what is said to the manager of a store or restaurant. We will promote your business to UCLA students. There's no cost to you for our service. All we ask is that you provide a student discount. That's it. No sales skills are needed. No, it's the easiest thing ever. This is music to a manager's ears. And if you contact a store or a restaurant by phone or by Facebook or by WhatsApp or what have you, by email, you'll always get the manager. If they're not there, you leave a message, they'll call you back. The managers want to know when customers are trying to contact them, right? And this is what you say to them. This is what managers are saying. It's just that simple. It really is that simple. Let me show it to you again. And the proof, by the way, is 75% of stores and restaurants say yes. And so another status, over 100 people have purchased a territory, right? We're out there selling territories now. And they do that so they can sign up stores and restaurants. And by the way, Alpha citizens are going to get this for free. Let me tell you that right now. But what's the price per territory? This is the price per territory, right? Not for you, not for Alpha citizens. You're getting it for free. Let me make sure you hear that. You're not paying that. But this is what people are paying for it, between $4,950 and $109,500 per territory for position and track. And why would anyone pay that, by the way? It's because of the opportunity, as you'll see in a second. But again, Alpha users get this for free. And so let's go to the opportunity. Let's talk about how it works. I mentioned that 100 people have purchased a territory so they can sign up stores and restaurants in their area at that 75% success rate. They've never heard. A lot of these folks are, have a background in marketing or sales or other things, running their own business, and they've never seen a situation where 75% of managers said, sure, why wouldn't I do that, right? And again, that's why they're paying that. They're paying that because it's a multi-million-dollar business opportunity for them right there in their territory where they live. Their territory is their business. They own it, they earn from it daily, and they can sell it whenever they like. As they build it up, they can sell it. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Their exclusive territory that they own is a college or university in their local area. So for example, somebody has UCLA, and their exclusive territory, again, is a college university, and their territory consists of all the stores and restaurants that are around the school within a 1 or 2 or 3 mile or kilometer radius around that school. Now, the manager earns a piece of all revenue, right, from all the merchants and all the users in their territory. Does that make sense? Let's walk through that. An in-person purchase. When somebody walks into a store or walks into a restaurant and buys something that's called an in-person purchase, they get a cut. The manager gets a piece of that, right? Or they go online and they order something from the website or from the app, food or products, the manager gets a piece of every single purchase. Now, remember we talked about everything fast and free, sharing with the local merchants. The manager gets a piece of that, and local merchants spend a lot of money on advertising. They want to promote themselves, right? The manager gets a piece of all that. Now, we've set up an organization so that people can help other people. And so there's leadership bonuses as well. You might remember in Empower, one of the great things about the culture we had was everybody was so willing to help each other out. It was such a friendly environment, right? And well, what we have here is as new managers come in, we're not going to be able to manage them all from here. And so other managers will help them and actually get a piece of the transaction at no cost to the manager. So, if Sally comes in and ends up, working with Joe, reporting to Joe, Joe gets a piece of Sally's transactions at no cost to Sally. Does that make sense? And also, they get a piece of all the social networking revenues. Let me drill down on that, on what that is. You might remember there's marketplace transactions. All the users within the platform, when they're selling and sharing products and services to each other, the manager gets a piece of every one of those transactions. Advertising, consumers in there buying advertising to promote themselves, There's subscription services. You might remember the mission roles, right? And other subscriptions, the manager gets a piece of all that. And then finally, when someone buys cryptocurrency, the consumers buy cryptocurrency, guess what? The manager gets a piece of that. So what is that? That was 5 ways to earn, plus the 6th way is really 4 additional ways. So that's 9 ways to earn for the manager. I promised 11, so there's 2 missing. We'll get to that in a second. But that's 9 ways the manager earns. And remember, it all starts with the merchants, right? And 75% of them say yes. Isn't that incredible? Well, let's go and see how these earnings add up, specifically the earnings calculator. And how much do they earn? The numbers can get crazy. And so I'm just going to walk you through a calculator, and I'll show you where to download the calculator here in a second. But let me just quickly get out of this so I can show you the calculator. Hopefully you can see that calculator. As you can see, it looks like this. At the top, you first select your country. And these countries were all just added because up to now we've been almost exclusively US and Canada. So hopefully that all works well, but I'll just use a US for now. There's the position. We'll get into the positions here in a moment. But there's 3 positions: zone managers, division, and district managers. You'll see how that works in a second. And there's 3 tracks. The tracks are standard, fast, and founder track. Now, if the district managers don't have anyone reporting to them, but the zone managers and the division managers do. And so that's where you would plug in how many people would you have reporting to you if you're a leader. So the next thing we'll focus on here is this concept of MRB. Now, we'll get into this in a second, but MRB just means Merchant Relationship Builder. That's just a fancy way to say the college student that works for you. Does that make sense? So the college students are called MRBs that work for the managers. So the question is, how many college students does the manager hire each month? If they're hiring, say, 1 a week, that's 4 a month. And so you plug into that. And by the way, what's the maximum number of these MRBs that a manager would want reporting to them? They plug that in there, right? And the calculator then builds up with these factors. You'll see in a second that all of these MRBs, these college students, are paid by the platform, not by the manager, right? So what the manager earns is almost entirely profit, right? Because almost all you'll see it in a second, all their costs are picked up by the platform. Okay, then the question is, how many merchants does a college student, an MRB, sign up each month? Right? And so if they're signing up 1 per week, you saw how easy that is. It really is that simple. But if they're signing up 1 per week or 4 each month, you put in a 4. And what's the maximum number of merchants you want a college student, an MRB, to manage? We recommend no more than 30. That way, when they're done signing up 30, they service them. They're there to help the merchant. When the merchant has a new item they want to add to their product, they're there for them. So their job just becomes offering a race experience. You might remember this phrase: radically awesome customer experience, race experience to the merchants. We're going to give them a college student that's technically savvy and is earning from that merchant as well. That's going to be there for them whenever they need anything. How's that for service to the merchant? And again, the college students are paid for by the platform. And so you plug those in there. So think about it. If you've got 30 college students, MRBs working for you, and if they can have no more than 30 merchants each, well, that means you'll cap out at 900 merchants. That's where that's calculated. Now, let's get into some of the transactions and watch how it grows. So first of all, how many users does each college student bring in? Remember, they go out there and they hand out those $100 bills or something similar for your currency. So they're going to probably bring on hundreds of new users a month, but let's put in 200 there. And so they plug that in, 200, and you can already see the brown is starting to shoot up. Brown is the social networking revenue that we talked about. Remember the 4 marketplace, cryptocurrency, the advertising, and the subscription revenue that comes in? That's what the brown is. And so you can see the manager's revenue in year 1, year 2, and year 3 start to shoot up. That's the brown. The purple, by the way, is because this person, we have them in as a leader, as a zone manager. And remember, zone managers earn. We'll get into all that in a second. But you can see the revenues are starting to build up here. Question is, how many transactions, these students, how many transactions will they have per day? think about it. These are businesses that are right around college campuses. And so most of their business is coming from college students, right? And once word gets out about these discounts, it's only a matter of time till all of these students are getting the discount, walking into the store and wanting their discount, which means we process the transaction. And so I suggest putting an 8, let's say 8 transactions per day. 8 people walk into the store or the restaurant and buy something. You'll notice that there starts to be some yellow there. That's the transaction revenue to the manager. We'll talk about the percentages in a second. And there's also some blue that came in, advertising. You'll see why that's coming in a second. New revenue streams. Okay, what about online? These students, how many, on average, how many times will they buy something from that merchant each day? And so, here, that's where you plug that in. By the way, so what's the in-person transaction size on average? We figure if you walk into a sandwich store, a sandwich, a chips, and a Coke, about $10. That's sort of the minimum we see happening in person. Some transactions will be less, but an average of $10 is what we plug in. But remember, this is a calculator for a reason. It's for you to plug in what you think will happen there locally. If you want to be more conservative, if you want to be more aggressive, you play with it. And then as you get going, reality will come in and you'll know what these things are and you'll plug them in and you'll be able to predict your revenue. That's what the calculator is for. And so online, how many transactions? Let's say they also get 8 online, 8 people ordering food from the restaurant or from the store on average. And what's the average online transaction size, right? I put in 20 there, and you can see these revenue streams start to build up. By the way, you'll notice here, if you change your country to say, Austria, it says something. It says, please note that despite the dollar symbol, these numbers below are in your local currency, right? So these numbers here, all of these things are now in Austrian, which is euros, right? If you're in Austria, it does some calculations. So when you plug in 10 here, you're really saying 10 euros, not dollars. So ignore the dollar sign if you are not in the US. But again, if I were you, I'd probably just use the US version, but plug these in your local currency, what you think it might be. So for example, just translate it to your local currency. You know how much of your currency you get for $1. And if the average in-person transaction size is $3 in your area, we'll make it 3 in US dollars. Does that make sense? Just convert it to your currency. We just added all the countries and the currency, so we're not 100% sure it's as accurate as the dollars are we've been using. Okay, back to this. We've got 8 transactions per day online, average $20. Okay, see what happened here. The green came in. All right, next question is, the advertisers, the merchants have an ability to, with one slider I might have mentioned, to basically tell the platform, listen, I'm just going to buy advertising. When revenue comes in, I'll reinvest some of my revenue into advertising. And so you plug in here, what percentage of that are they willing to put back in? I put in 10% to be conservative, but it's really exciting for merchants because we're saying to them, you don't have to spend money up front. Wait till revenue starts generating and just take a piece of it and automatically put it into advertising. So that's what this is. What percentage? We have 10%. And that's why you see blue here, because 10% of the revenue to them is going back into advertising. And of course, the manager gets a cut. Now, what percentage of merchants are participating in this fast start? You'll learn more about fast start in a second, but fast start is a way for a merchant to get a very quick start and to put some quick money in the manager's hands, in the manager's pockets, and in the college students' pockets. So what percentage of merchants would participate in that? You'll see that 1 out of 3 merchants being asked if they want to participate in this says yes. And so we'll put 33% in there, and you'll notice that some of the numbers are moving. What's the average amount of fast start monthly advertising? I've got 500 in there. Okay, you'll see more about fast start and why it's so exciting for merchants in a second. But what about sharing, the renting, right? How many, remember, we're trying to move people to not buy things, but to rent things, to share things. So how many transactions per day there? Over time, that'll add up to it'll grow. And so what we like to put in there is 12. And then, but at first it'll be slow moving, right? Because the sharing is a new thing. And you'll see how we make it slow moving down here. But just, put in a number there. You'll notice a dark green starts to come in. How much is the daily rental fee for items, and how many days on average does someone keep a lawnmower, for example, if they rent a lawnmower, or if they rent a jacket that they want to have for their date on Friday night, right? This is where that sharing comes in. By the way, whatever you put as the settings up here, it's going to take time for that to ramp up to those settings, right? And so that's where you tell it here from the start date, how long until these earnings reach these settings. And so be conservative. Put something in 9 or 12 or something conservative, so you've got lots of time for that to come up slowly to that, because that's how business works. Things ramp up, right? And then finally, from year 2 to year 3, what's the annual growth? We put about 35%. Business sale value, we'll get to that in a second, but let me just show you the commissions. So this is the commission that a manager gets on their, when someone walks in person and buys something, the manager gets 0.3% of the transaction. When the local merchant buys advertising, the manager gets 5% of that. E-commerce, 1%, the sharing, 1%. All the social revenue from the social network, the manager gets 3% of that revenue. By the way, the merchant relationship builders, the college students, also get a cut. They get 5% of the advertising, 2% of the e-commerce, 2% of the sharing, and 5% of that. Why is that? Why does the college student earn more than the manager? That's because as a manager, you have many college students working for you, and they have a smaller number of merchants that they serve. And so that's why they get a bigger cut, a bigger percentage. But overall, obviously, the manager will make a lot more because they've got 30 college students, MRBs, working for them. I hope I'm not confusing you here, and I'm sorry if I'm going fast, but like I said, we're recording this. You can go watch it again later. And of course, we've got coaches and trainers and lots of time for us to talk about all this. And by the way, as I mentioned, zone managers get 5% of what the division managers earn at no cost to the division manager. And the division managers earn 2.5% of what the district managers earn at no cost to them. And so that's where this purple comes in. As you can see, the purple really adds up. By the way, these tracks, the founder, the district managers, I'm sorry, if you're on the standard track, the revenues are 1/3. So that's the standard revenue. Fast doubles the revenue, and founder triples the revenue. So for example, down here, you notice if they're on founder, they get 3% of the social networking. But let me go make that standard, and you'll see that 3% drops down to 1%. Does that make sense? So people on the standard track earn standard. Fast track, everything doubles. Founder track triples. Does that make sense? Remember that. We'll get into all that. You don't need to remember this. I'm going to get into it here in a second. But anyways, you can see how the revenues really start to ramp up as you go. Obviously the best position to be in is a zone manager, and the best track to be on is the founder track. And you'll see in a second, these tracks are sold to managers for alpha users free. Does that make sense? So really there's no reason for an alpha user that comes in is getting it for free not to go for the founder track and earn triple, right? Also the position is free for our alpha users, as you'll see in a second. So anyways, as you can see, it adds up to a lot of revenue, millions of dollars. The college students is the main cost, and the technology is the other main cost. All of that is paid for by the platform. 0% of that comes from the manager. Does that make sense? So all of this is pretty much profit because you don't need an office. We'll get into all that in a second, but I hope you're seeing the opportunity here that we've been working on for you. And so on that note, let me get back to our presentation, and we'll get going again. Just one second. All right. All right. So where is this earnings calculator? Where can you get it from, right? I'll share that link with you in just a bit. You need Microsoft Excel to use it, but I'll share that link with you here in just a second. Okay, so that gets us to the work. How easy is it? How hard is it? So building your business and earning as a manager that owns their own territory is as simple as A, B, C. Let's get right into it. The first thing that happens is we activate merchants, then we empower them, and then we acquire users, right? Let's talk about activation. Let's talk about A. So merchants are easily signed up using the telephone, email, WhatsApp, or Facebook. You ask for the store manager and you say, we will promote your business to, the name of the school. That's your territory. To the students that go to that school. There's no cost to you. All we ask is that you provide a student discount. Like I said, 75% of merchants say yes. We've got some incredible tools that you can use, this laminate that you take out and you show them if you visit them in person. You show them how it works and how they're promoted, and you flip it over and talk about all the great ways we're going to help them fight back. It's really that simple. There's a window sticker that goes on their window. 100% of them say yes to that. They love that. Why do they love putting that sticker on their window? Because it makes them look good. We support higher education. Who doesn't want to say that in a college community, right? These businesses are around college campuses, right? And also, there's a counter display that also makes them look good. They love that. So we give that to them. And like I said, most of them say yes, 75%. And that's how we activate a merchant. From then on, students start seeing those stickers and the counter displays, word starts to spread, right? But we're going to go out there and jumpstart it when we acquire users. But the second thing we do is we empower the merchants. Let me talk about that. So we have this program called Fast Start. And so on the first visit to the merchant, we get them set up, we get the window sticker and the counter display, and then we say, we're going to visit you another time to see how things are going. And a few days later or a week later, we visit them and we tell them about Fast Start, which is this thing that you're seeing on your screen, a little binder. And basically what you see in the binder is that, look, Mr. or Mrs. Merchant, this is an optional program that helps you rebound from COVID-19. We know times have been tough for small merchants. And so it features a few things. One, zero time investment. We're going to promote you out there and get your revenues ramping up with no time investment from you. We know how busy you are. Second, high local reach. We've got college students working for us, and we're going to go everywhere. Not just that local college and campus, but busy streets, shopping malls, other campuses close by. We're going to go everywhere and get them coming to you. The third part is guaranteed revenue. Does that make sense? So if we charge you X for advertising and we start small, if we don't deliver more than that in revenue to you, we'll refund the difference. So that way, if we're not bringing you customers, if we're not really bringing you revenue, we refund all of it. It's incredible, right? They've never heard of such a thing. So literally there's no risk. And then finally, especially these restaurants that are using delivery services, these delivery services charge them around 30%. We're going to deliver for you for only 10%. And they love that because these restaurants, especially with COVID, they've been forced to go use the delivery, but they hate that because 30% of the bill is what the restaurants are being charged. In a lot of cases, that is the entire profit they're generating. And so they're basically serving all these customers and hardly making enough money to live on. And so we're going to do that for 10%. The reason for that is a couple things. One, we want to make it really easy over time for these businesses and these restaurants to say no to all of the local competitors there. We want you to dominate in your area. Does that make sense? We want to, over time, we want all the businesses and the restaurants and the stores say, I'm only going to do business with these guys. Those other businesses can't, the delivery services, they can't get down to 10%. They don't have the other revenue streams that we have. And they're Wall Street funded. They need profits, right? We don't need those profits. And so we're trying to set you up to dominate in your area so that over time, over a 1 or 2 year period, there's not going to be any competition. In your area, when people want to use the social network, it'll be yours. When they want to get food from a restaurant, they'll be using your platform. Think of yourself as the mayor of your town. Isn't that incredible? We're already seeing some of our managers, when they walk into a restaurant, they're sitting them down, they're giving them free food. It's like the mayor came to visit you. They're so excited, and we're just getting started. This Fast Start program, 1 out of 3 say yes to it. And what Fast Start's meant to do is get cash into your pockets and into your MRB's pockets. Those are the college students that work for you, super fast, right? In fact, 75% of the revenue that's generated from Fast Start is going to you and your team. 25% to you, 50% to the college student workers that do almost all the work. Remember, these college students are the ones that are going to go sign up the merchants, right? They're the ones that are going to serve the merchants. They're the ones that are going to go acquire the users. We do all the training, by the way. So we're there with you 100%. But really your job becomes hiring these college students and inspiring them and motivating them. We're there to help you as well with weekly calls and training and all kinds of goodies, as you'll see. And so that's how we empower the merchant, because the merchant gets basically us promoting them with guaranteed revenues, no time involvement from them. And when we bring them online, 10% deliveries instead of 30%, they love it. And they've never heard of guaranteed advertising. And then the third part is we get out there and acquire users. Like I said, there's window stickers, counter displays. The students will start seeing that, but why wait? Why wait for that to ramp up? Let's get out there and start promoting the platform and the users quickly, right? And so the college students, along with activating the merchants, they get out there and they start handing out these $100 bills, we call them, but in your area, it'll be your local currency. And together we can set what that amount should be for your area. A, B, C, it's that simple, right? Activate, empower, acquire. It really is that simple. We've tried a ton of things to get it down to just that. And by the way, one more time, what do we call these college students that work for you? The answer is MRBs, Merchant Relationship Builders. So every time I say MRB, we're talking about these Merchant Relationship Builders, which is a college student that works for you. Who pays them? Again, the platform does. 100% of their compensation comes directly from the platform, 0% from the manager. How do the MRBs earn? And how much do they earn? The answer is in that same earnings calculator that I showed you, just scroll down. Under that graph that you saw for the manager, you can see the earnings for the MRB, and it's pretty crazy. It's almost, the numbers are incredible. And so set them conservatively and hopefully then surprise yourself. All right, so thousands of Empower Alpha users have signed up to come to our calls to get their territory. How do we manage so many people? We need an organization, right? And that's where these positions and tracks come in. And you know, remember this, the graphs that you saw, the purple at the top there is what people earn for being a manager. So what would someone pay? Managers on the outside, not alpha users. I mentioned the alpha users are getting this for free, but what do managers pay for an opportunity of this size? What should they expect to pay? Well, I'll tell you what we're charging them for all the technologies, no charge. All of that they're getting for free. Remember, they need a manager for their territory, needs a social network that pays people, that does all the things that we've built together. They need the messenger, they need the marketplace. By the way, why do they need a social network? Because not only they earn from that, but that's how the users get introduced to the platform. And then from there, they get to, oh, wow, I can use my funds at local merchants as an example, right? It all starts with the social network. And there's the marketplace in there, all of the food and product ordering apps that are needed. The merchants, what do they see when the order comes in? What does a driver see? They need their own apps. All of these things are provided to the local merchants. The currency, of course, is involved, and the CRMs. This is where the merchant can log in and see their transactions and cash out, right? Same thing with the manager that owns their territory. Same thing with the college student, the MRB. They need a CRM. So we built all of those things. All of those are provided to the managers that come in for no charge. They get their exclusive territory. So once they own that territory, that's theirs, and they can sell it. No one else can have it. No charge for securing that territory. And like I said, 100% of their payroll, which can add up to millions of dollars each year for their college students, for the MRBs, paid for by the platform. They simply pay a one-time platform setup fee, as we talked about, based on the position and the track they choose, right? And they pay, and remember what I said about that. There's no such cost for our alpha users as our thank you to you, as you'll see in a second. Also, these managers have a support fee, $99 US a month. That gets them their customer service, their training, all of the platforms, email addresses that they need. We pay Google for that on their corporate account. We have accountability software. There's a ton of stuff that we have to pay for, and so they pay for that through the support fee. And that's, if you think about it, that's a small price to pay, those one-time fee and a $99 a month for earnings that size, or even a tenth as much. But again, our reasoning for doing any of this is not to earn profits. It's not to maximize revenues. It's to get good managers out there doing good work. We just need to know that they value what we're giving them, and that's why we have a price on it. And what we're finding, like I said, is they're buying them up. Let's talk about the positions. How do we manage a large organization? So we have zone managers, we have division managers, and we have district managers. Let me tell you the difference between those. So a zone manager has up to 8 division managers that report to them in their organization. Does that make sense? They can have less, but they can have up to 8 division managers reporting to them. Let's talk about division managers. So a division manager can have up to 8 district managers reporting to them. Do you see how we can manage a large organization by in this manner? Think about it. A zone manager has 8 division managers, but if a division manager can have 8 district managers, well, that means that zone manager is responsible for 64 district managers, right? 8 times 8, right? So think about this. The zone manager is responsible for 8 plus 64 equals 72 territories. But wait a minute. The zone manager also has their own territory. Everybody has their own territory as well, right? So let's add that to that. And now do the math again. A zone manager is responsible for up to 73 territories. Does that make sense? So what does a zone manager do with those people? Well, they have team meetings with their 8 division managers. And a division manager has team meetings once a week with their district managers. They also hold one-on-ones, make sure everybody's happy. When a new district manager comes in, they the division manager trains them. The zone manager, but so everyone's responsible for 8 people directly, but they could be responsible for more people indirectly. Also, once a week, they could hold a large call with all 73 territories and talk about new things coming down the pipe. The zone manager is responsible for, inspiring people. Listen, you folks know the social network better than anyone else. You spent years on it. Even though it wasn't mobile, more or less, you get the concepts. You understand cryptocurrency. We went through a lot together. We educated each other, not just us educating you. You educated us. We went through all of this together as we tried things and failed and something else worked. And then we built on that and tried 3 more things. And do you remember all of those blog posts that were crazy long? I think you do. Anyways, a zone manager is responsible for up to 73 territories. Now let's talk about division manager. As we talked about, a division manager can have 8 district managers. They have their own territory as well. So add that up. A division manager is responsible for up to 9 territories. Does that make sense? And of course, a district manager has just their own territory. And so a district manager is responsible for just their own territory. Now I'm going to walk you through some of the details. And basically this is what we show to new managers coming in that are purchasing a territory. Again, don't let the prices here scare you, because it's free for alpha users, not free for everyone else. And so a district manager, let's talk about the district manager first. As you can see, there's 3 tracks, as you saw in the calculator: standard track, fast track, and founder track. Again, a district manager is responsible for 1 territory. First thing they get is they get advertising credit built in. For a standard track, almost $5,000. For a founder track, almost $30,000 of advertising that they get to promote their merchants, right? So that's a nice thing to start off with. I might have mentioned the fast track earns double, guaranteed. They earn double what the standard owns, and the founder track earns triple what the standard earns. Remember in the calculator, I showed you how that worked? To be more specific, that's what each track earns as a percentage of in-person transactions, as a percentage of advertising sales, e-commerce transactions, sharing transactions. So the annual earning potential used to be this. This is kind of old now because we added the social networking revenue. That's new. And we added some more things. So as you can see, the numbers are now even greater than they were a couple of months ago. The business sale value. This is what they can sell their business for when they get to those revenues. I'll explain that in a second. Don't worry about that. That's their cost. I put a line through it because that's not your cost, as I mentioned, but that's what they pay for if they want the district manager standard track. It's $4,950. Not bad for a business that generates that much, right? And for an extra, what is that, about $24,000, they get triple the revenue. So it's worth the founder track. And I can tell you 90% of the people that come in go for the founder track, because it makes no sense to go for the standard track when they're going to be building their business and earning triple. For just a few $1,000s, it ends up being hundreds of thousands of dollars more per year, if not more. So that's the district manager. The division manager, again, 3 tracks. The division manager, they earn 2.5% of what each of their district managers earn, right? And they can have up to 8. So that's why they're responsible for 9 territories. Again, they earn double and triple depending on their track. Now, where do they get those people from, right? We help them build out the division manager. We help them get their managers. In other words, we've got recruiters here that can help them as division managers build out their team and find good people for them. We pay those recruiters for them. Does that make sense? They get advertising credits depending on their track. By the way, as alpha users, you get those advertising credits too, except you're not paying, right? Double and triple the revenues. There's the commissions, again, they earn. Again, the social networking revenues are not in here because that was just added. Annual earning potential, as you can see, double and triple. Business sale value, we'll talk about that in a second. And that's what they pay for their each of the tracks. If they want to be a division manager, let's talk about zone managers, the top position. So zone managers earn 5% of all of the revenue streams that each of their division managers earn at no cost to the division manager. Does that make sense? So in all of the ways a division manager earns, the zone manager gets 5% of that in consideration for managing that team. That's how we pay the zone managers for doing that. As I mentioned, they're responsible for 73 territories, up to 73 territories. They can have up to 30 recruiters working for them that we pay in order to help them build out their 73 territories. Does that make sense? We pay the recruiters for them to go out there and help fill out their team as a zone manager. They get a ton of advertising credit for being a zone manager, a lot more obviously if they're on the founder track, double or triple the revenue. There's the commissions again, annual earning potential. As you saw from the calculator, it's much higher now because of the different new revenue streams that we brought in and even increased some commissions. So this is a little bit old. Business sale value, and that's what they pay for their territory. And so again, where is that earnings calculator? I'll share that link with you here in just a bit. First, obviously, you need to secure your territory. By the way, I should tell you, territories are assigned on a first come, first served basis. And I can't stress this enough. If the territory you want is taken, there's nothing we can do about that, obviously, right? Only one person can own a territory. In a moment, we're going to show you where to check and see if your territory is available and how to secure it. And so, question, how can you secure a zone manager or a division manager spot, right? As opposed to just a district manager spot. How do you get that? The answer is it's yours for the taking. There's an old saying, leadership is taken, not given. Let me blow that up a bit. Leadership is taken, not given. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to take it, how to take that spot also for free. And so we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's talk about the cryptocurrency. I know a lot of people want to talk about that. So let's talk about the old coins and new coins. First of all, did you have any old Empower coins that you still have? Well, that were in the system? Well, those coins will be added to your beta account shortly after the beta launch in your area, right? So by the way, if you're going to be a manager in your area, then you're going to launch it. But if you don't want to be a manager, if you just want to be a user or a success coach, a guide, or any of the other positions, a driver, any of the other positions in it, then you just have to wait for a manager to launch your territory. Does that make sense? But it shouldn't be long because all the territories will probably be taken pretty quickly. There's only so many territories to go around, right, globally. And so let's do a quick refresher on what we learned and how we evolved our thinking together, some new things that you want to be aware of with our new cryptocurrency. So as you might remember, one of the challenges we faced in our alpha days is the coin price volatility. Cryptocurrency pricing tends to go up and down like crazy, right? And so what we did when we launched our cryptocurrency, people in the platform that are trying to sell something, or trying to offer a service or trying to buy something, they bid, for example, in a 7-day auction. And meanwhile, the price is going up and down. And so if I want to buy Brian's used iPhone from him, and it's a 7-day auction, one day I think I'm paying $30 is my bid. Then it's up to $60, it's down to $10. I don't know what I'm paying for this thing. It's horrible. Same thing on his side. What is he going to get for this when the currency is going up and down? We didn't start this thing to be a place for people to gamble with cryptocurrency, right? As you know, virtually all cryptocurrencies still to this day are nothing but a way to gamble. They're really not good for anything yet. It takes time to build products around those that they're trying to build, right? And so this price volatility created a lot of problems for us. We want to be an economy to change people's lives. Remember, that's what the mission is all about. So it was creating problems. In an economy, you want people focusing on the products and services. You don't want them focused on what's the coin price. And so our challenge was to achieve stability in the coin price by watching the price and reacting to the supply and demand variables. Does that make sense? Do you remember when we stabilized it? So imagine we stabilize a coin to, say, $100 per coin. If the price starts to go down to 99, we can bring it back up with technology that watches it. So for example, if someone starts buying a lot of coins out there, the price will start to go up. Let's say it gets to 101. The technology notices it and starts selling coins, brings it back down to 100. Does that make sense? Or vice versa. Let's say someone's just selling a lot of coins. It goes from 100 to $99. The technology notices and starts buying it. That's how you stabilize a coin. So we did that. However, what we found is that when you stabilize it, it was great for the economy, but it killed the motivation of buyers that want to hold it and buy it and bring revenue to the company and now to our managers. And so, one solution to that is build into the stability a small amount of price appreciation. In other words, have it be stable, but instead of being a flat line, have it go up slightly. Let's say 1 or 2% per week. Very slight, so that if I'm buying that iPhone from Brian or offering a service or what have you, I don't really care if the price goes up by 1% or goes down by 1%. It's not really why I wanted the phone. And so it doesn't cause problems, but it creates some reason for people to want to buy it. And so ultimately, and you might also remember, we got hit with a lot of fraud. We had to build a lot of algorithms for that and fix that. So we had a lot of learnings together as the first social network in the world that certainly we're aware of to fully bring in cryptocurrency into a marketplace, into the social network, into paying users. All of that we were first at. And so we had the ability to get this experience, to go out and make these mistakes and learn from them and do version 2, learn from it, go to version 3. And so together, if you remember, we went through a lot getting to our ultimate strategy. And so our ultimate strategy we call MAS, right? MAS in Spanish means more, right? But mass adoption and stable, right? The stable part is what we talked about, the price not being volatile, not going up and down. And the mass adoption is where people want to own it because there's slight appreciation. And so here's our approach. Here's our strategy. We start the currency price at $1 on January 4, just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. That's when the price starts, as we're getting ready to go into beta now. Then we're going to grow the price by 1.7% each week. Does that make sense? That's the slight appreciation. However, we immediately start decreasing that growth rate of 1.7% by 0.003% each week until eventually the weekly growth rate reaches 0, which means we're going to stabilize the price at $100 a coin in exactly 10 years. And so if you look at the growth rate of the price, it's slowing down. It'll slow down over 10 years, and eventually there's no growth in the price at exactly 10 years. And the price of the coin is going up slowly from $1 to $100 in a 10-year period. You might remember we tried some things in our first year when we came out in April at 26 cents. The goal was to get to $10 by that December in 8 months. So that was crazy growth rate, right? 40 times growth in 8 months. This is learning from that, but much slower. We're going to go from $1 to $100 in 10 years. And so, and stable, so people in the economy can use it. So that's our strategy with our new coin. Your old coins will be added to your beta account shortly after the beta launch in your area, as I mentioned. But what if you don't have any old coins? Can you go buy some new coins right now? And the answer is not yet. We're reserving this for our alpha citizens to get many new coins for free. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. So we won't sell you coins, but we'll give you a lot of coins for free. We'll talk about that here in a second. Again, there's information in the calculator. One of the tabs has to do with coins. And where's the earnings calculator? Again, I'll share that link with you here in just a bit. But in the calculator, one of the tabs down there says coins on it. Let me blow that up for you. And you can get in there and you can put in your coins and see how the value changes. All right. Let's talk about rules and expectations. Specifically, what policies do we have? What costs will you have? What bonuses can you earn? What to expect when selling your business. So you might remember that this is what the earnings look like with at least the settings that we put in there. But let's get straight to the question some people have. What costs will I have? So as a reminder, managers coming in get the technologies for free, no cost whatsoever for all of those technologies that we built together as a community for all these years. They're getting all of that for free, and as well as the messenger and everything else, right? They get to secure their territory without a charge. They get all of their payroll, their biggest costs, which can add up to millions of dollars each year for all their college students, paid for no cost. Their cost, we went through that based on their desired track and position and their support fee. So, by the way, what does it cost us to support each manager, right? Because we're charging them $99 a month, but what does it cost us to support it? It's currently costing us $270 a month per manager. Let me point out the difference there. So we're losing money with each of these managers that signs up. So how do we do that? Well, it's offset by the setup fee that they're paying up front. Does that make sense? So even though we're losing money every month, as their revenues grow, that'll help offset it. And of course, they paid all of that money setup fee up front, so we've got the cash to take care of them. Does that make sense? So that's how it works for managers. Let's talk about alpha citizens, you that want to take a territory. Same thing. You're going to get all these technologies, rightfully so, for free. You're going to secure your territory, if it's available, for free. Payroll for your team, we'll pay that all over the world. What about these other costs? What about the setup fee? As I mentioned, we're wiping that out for you, completely free of charge. First of all, I hope you're hearing us when we say thank you. We promised you when we shut down the product a year ago that we'd be back. We're not giving up on this mission, but we needed to go figure out the second hardest piece. The first one was, how do we build all these technologies without taking capital from investors and innovate? It wasn't good enough to go copy people. We had to do stuff no one else had done before, right? All of our patents prove that. But the second piece was, how do we figure out how to go to market? And of course, you now understand a lot of that. We build a multi-million-dollar business opportunity for people at a local level. We promised you when we shut it down, we'd be back. And we'd be back to thank you. And I hope you're hearing that now. I hope you're sensing our sincerity. So thank you. This is our way of thanking you. We contemplated quite a bit on how to do this. And ultimately, we said, we're bringing in enough revenue from the others. We asked permission from all the US and Canada people and told them how much you guys have done for us and that they wouldn't have this opportunity without you. And they agreed that we would do this for you. So thank you once again. Support fees. So again, what does it cost a platform to support each manager? $270. Now, we need to have a small support fee just to make sure if someone gets a territory and does nothing with it, that they quit it. And so we're going to make this $29 for the standard track. We need you to have a little skin in the game so that when you don't want to do this for some reason, you don't grab a territory and then do nothing with it. Does that make sense? We instantly have costs. I told you $270. So we're going to give you 2 email addresses. We're paying Google for that. We've got our accountability software. There's a ton of stuff we have to provide you that costs us cash right out the door to pay these other companies, along with all of our hosting fees. So we need to have a little bit of skin in the game from you so we know you're real. So you're not grabbing a territory. Otherwise, people are going to go grab a bunch of accounts and do nothing with them. And we can't have that. So $29 gets you the standard track a month, $0 for the setup fee. If you want the double, the fast track, if you want that double for $15 extra, you can double your earnings. How's that? Is that fair? And then for those of you that want the triple earnings, $15 more, $59 a month gets you everything. Does that make sense? I hope you're hearing our thanks through that. Now we'll talk about this in a second. If you want to grab this and do nothing with it, it's not going to make sense for you because you're paying money for no good reason. And you'll see in a second, there are minimum standards. We can't have people coming into the platform that don't want to build out their territory, because when you grab a territory, someone else can't have it. Does that make sense? We'll get into more of that in a second. But I showed you 9 ways to earn, but I promised 11. We owe you 2. Where's the other 2? Again, I hope you're hearing us. I owe you information on those 2 other additional ways to earn, but I hope you're hearing us here We're trying to shout as loudly as we can, thank you for everything you've done and for the opportunity that you've given us to change the world, to feel like we feel, that we're making an impact and we're about to change everything that matters to all of us, as we discussed when we were discussing the mission. Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. Request, again, it costs the community hundreds of dollars each month to support you. If you're not going to be active, please do not take a territory. Does that make sense? So what other costs might you have? Remember, this is your business. You are responsible. This is not an entitlement. Yes, I know we've wiped out that setup fee, we've wiped out the technology costs, and we're paying your payroll and all that, but this is your business. You are responsible. Our biggest fear here, I have to be straight up with you. Open communication is one of our core values. Our biggest fear is that we're going to get some people to come in who have a sense of entitlement. They feel like, they're owed something. We've had some of those Empower Alpha citizens who thought they would join, and like a ATM machine gone crazy, money just pours out and they don't have to do anything, right? Listen, we built this to be something that is very low cost for you to operate. You don't need an office, for example. We built a CRM so you can operate your entire business from your phone, from your mobile device, from the internet. So you don't need an office, but you do need a smartphone, or you need an internet connection, right? Smartphone would be best because of all the apps. You do need that. Those window stickers, the counter display, those $100 bills, whatever it'll look like in your area, you need to print those out in your local territory, right? They're not expensive for each merchant, but you need to pay for that. The counter display can run a couple dollars because it's a plastic holder that you can, we'll tell you where you can get all these things, but you have to pay for that. We can't pay for that for you and ship it to your part of the world. The shipping costs will cost us more than the actual cost of the materials. And finally, any other costs that you choose to have. Do you want to have t-shirts, that you want to give your college students? We don't recommend it. You don't need to do that. But it's your business. You have the right and the ability to run your business how you want to run it. For those of you that have had your own business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that have not, this is our fear. We will train you, right? But you have to understand that you are responsible. Just because you're getting this business for free doesn't mean you're not responsible. If you had paid $50,000 or $100,000 for the business, you would be thinking about it differently. And this is our fear, that by giving it to you basically for free, we're going to attract some people that aren't business people or don't understand the concept of I am responsible. I don't look to others for handouts. Does that make sense? We don't have deep pockets from investors so that people can complain that, they had to buy a t-shirt for themselves or God knows what, and they want the company to reimburse. If that's your attitude, this is not the right place for you, just like it wasn't the right place before in our alpha days. Territories are being granted at no cost. We ask again that you don't tie up a territory and do nothing with it. Is it going to be hard? No. You're going to be trained by a proven world-class expert, as I mentioned. We're going to equip you with virtually everything you need. However, you must take action. Does that make sense? This is work. This is work. You have to build up your territory. You're not going to sit home and just watch it happen. In fact, we have minimum standards. Does that make sense? They're not hard. They're very easy to have. We rate people by basically what they're accomplishing, A, B, C, D, or F. We got minimum standards, and you're not allowed to take a territory and do nothing with it. And along with minimum standards, are you ready for this? We've got some amazing bonuses for people that are A and B players. I hope you're sitting down for this. You get off to a fast start in your first 4 months, and B players, if you fall into a B category, you're going to earn $200,000 worth of the new coins for free at that stable price. Does that make sense? And if you're an A player, and we'll train you, we'll show you how to do this. It's not that hard. A players get $1 million US worth of coins at that stable price. How do you like that? Why would we do a thing like that? Guess what, folks? We're going to have billions of dollars of transactions happening with our platform. And you folks coming in, we want to show you that we're very serious about your success in getting out there and building out your business. And we're willing to put some currency behind that to just further make the point. Do what you need to do just in your first 4 months, and you'll get those coins free and clear. Those are yours. And by the way, with those coins, that's now 10 ways to earn. I promised 11, right? Where's that other one? Well, here's the final one. As I mentioned, this is your business. You can sell it as you build it up to whomever you wish, including back to the platform. So how much can you sell your business for? Approximately 19 times your annual earnings. If you want to see that for yourself, just Google this, EBITDA multiples by industry. EBITDA. EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's all that means. But really, it's a fancy way to say earnings multiplied, but each industry is different. Go Google that and scroll down, look for things like e-commerce or things that are similar to us, and you'll find on average about 19 times your earnings, your annual earnings is what it's worth. And the calculator has that, by the way. You might have seen that in there. All right, let's get very quickly to the less fun part. Look, like before, folks, we have a zero tolerance policy for cheaters, for unethical people. There's no warnings. People that cheat, people that are unethical, people that do something that's not worthy of the investment that's being made in them, the platform that they're receiving, all of the years of hard work that all of our alpha citizens have put into this to bring it to this point. People that do that are unworthy of it, and we have a zero tolerance policy for that. Unprofessionalism, arguing with a merchant. When you do that, when someone does that, they're damaging the brand, right? And they're damaging all the other managers that are building their territories. Does that make sense? We can't have that. Zero tolerance for that. We will be professional at all times. The customer is always right. Just like before, negative people. Listen, folks, we built all of this together with nothing but willpower, right? You know that. And it took a lot of positivity. It took a lot of getting up every day and working hard for a long time. Remember, there were no earnings whatsoever. Do you remember the success coaches, how many years they put into that without a single dollar in compensation before we started to have compensation in there and all that? They did all that by being positive. And so please, no whining, no complaining. We're all in this together. Yes, we together want to build everything and make everything better. Nothing's perfect, nor will it ever will be. We'll strive to that. And so we are always open to constructive criticism, but just complaining for the sake of complaining, we can't have that. It takes one bad apple to spoil a lot. So please, just reminding everyone of what they knew before. Same thing continues now. This is not open invitation for negative people who get up in the morning and don't know what it takes, don't know how to do things in their lives so that they can be positive and add positive energy. This is not an invitation for them to come in and start spewing negativity. Okay, so first, enough of that. Before we go, you need to secure your territory. Territories are assigned on a first come, first serve basis. Again, I can't stress this strongly. If your territory you want is taken, there's nothing we can do about it. Please don't write. We can't have thousands of people writing to customer service to get the same answer. And so right now, in a moment, we're going to show you how to see if the desired school you want, the territory, is available and how to secure it. In fact, Brian is going to show that to you in just a second. But first, let me just do a quick reality check. Who is this opportunity not for? And who is it especially for? Yes, again, the opportunity is being granted to you at no cost. But like all opportunities, this is work. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in work clothes. Does that make sense? This is not a handout. This is an opportunity for us to get to work. So the opportunity is not for people that are not entrepreneurial, that don't want to work. If that's you, do not grab a territory. This is not for you. People that care only about themselves, selfish people that don't want to help others, it's not for you because you also probably don't care about the mission. The mission comes first. Listen, folks, I mentioned Brian, Bob, myself, we haven't been paid a single penny in years. We've been working 12, 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week for years. We're doing it for one reason. It's the mission. It's not to get rich. It's the mission. And so if you don't care about the mission, it's unfair to Bob, to Brian, to all of the other folks that you know that are here. It's unfair for you to come into this place and start to work here. Because I wouldn't come into your living room if you're having a birthday party and say, stop this birthday party. It's time for me to watch TV. I want everyone to be quiet. This is a mission we're on. If you like the mission, if you care about the mission, come in, join us. If you don't care about the mission, this is not a place for you, because there will often have to be, for example, decisions made that benefit the mission, that may not benefit you in the short term. If that's not your mindset, it won't be a good place for you, or if you expect everything to be perfect. Did I mention that unlike every other platform out there, we didn't raise billions of dollars from investors? We're doing everything we can to get to be perfect, but we're not there yet. We probably will never be, even though we will strive to be there. If you expect everything to be perfect, if you think this is Apple Computer, and if something's not perfect, then all hell should break loose, you're in the wrong place. Since you're the alpha user, since you remember our product, you know we didn't even have mobile products at the time, you get what I'm talking about, but it's a reminder to those people who are expecting things to be perfect, or somehow took within everything I was saying that everything is perfect. It's not. I'll be straight up with you. It's not perfect, right? We're working on that, but we're not there yet. On the other hand, this opportunity is for people that really want to make a difference in their lives and their family lives. It's a great opportunity, right? And the lives of others. If that's you, this is a good place for you. This is an opportunity for people that may have fear. Anything we haven't done before, we'd be idiots not to have fear. The question is, will we let that fear stop us from taking action? Have you ever contacted a merchant and asked them to give a discount? At first, that can sound scary. But as our alpha users that helped us early last year found out, it's not scary. But you got to take action to find that out. Does that make sense? So it's okay to have fear, but don't let fear stop you. If you're a person that just has fears paralyze them, let me suggest kindly that this opportunity is not for you. But if you are not the person that will let fear stop you, it's good. This is for you. Don't expect everything to be perfect and can roll with the punches as they happen. If that's you, it's a good place for you. And finally, those that wish to make a massive difference with the time they're given on this planet. That's the only reason so many of us have put so many of our years into this, including most of you. That's why you did this. And so if that continues to be you, you're going to find that this is a great opportunity for you. So back to the, that's a good transition to answering the question. So how can you secure a zone or division manager spot? Remember, I said it's yours for the taking. Leadership is taken, not given. We're going to show, I mentioned that would show you how to take it also for free. Remember, managers coming in pay double for the roles or triple for the zone manager spot because they get to lead a large organization and earn from it. Remember, district managers have 1 territory, division managers earn from 9 territories, and zone managers from 73 territories. It really adds up on the earnings front. Look at that purple, those purple earnings, it really adds up. And it's just a greater opportunity to make an impact on the world and in your area. Again, leadership is taken, not given. So here's how we suggest you take it. Simply take the first step to being a leader. And the higher position is yours, right? What am I talking about? Build your team. Get 2 or more followers. Just show that 2 people would want to follow you. Does that make sense? If you've had a work experience, there's people out there. Do you know people that might want a multi-million-dollar opportunity too? Find 2 of them. If they're willing to follow you, you're a division manager. Does that make sense? There's your district managers, right? You step up to division manager when you get 2 people to come in as a district manager. That's how you can step up and be a division manager. And remember, when you're a division manager, we will pay for recruiters, no cost to you, to help you fill out more of the people on your team. Does that make sense? By the way, those people that you bring in, they don't have to be district managers. What if you brought in someone who wants to be a division manager and another one district? That's fine. Or what if you brought in someone who wants to be a zone manager themselves and you bring in 1 zone manager, 1 district? It doesn't matter where they are in the organization. You bring in 2 people, that shows people are willing to follow you. It means you're a leader and you are automatically promoted to division manager. Does that make sense? And from there, we can grow your organization together. Now, what if you want to be a zone manager? What if you're someone that's ambitious and wants to make a bigger impact? What about that? Well, let's just say bring in 5 or more people and you're a zone manager. Does that make sense? So, to be a zone manager, bring in 3 division managers and 2 district managers. Or maybe you do it a different way. Maybe you want to bring in 5 division managers. However you do it, we don't care. And remember, these people you bring in, a division manager, they can go and bring in their own district managers to fill out the territories. And so how's that? You show you're a leader and you get those roles for free. Now, we are anticipating your next question, which is, okay, I can bring people into this, but can you discount that setup fee? Right? Remember, the setup fees run from about $5,000 US to about $120,000 US. Can you discount that for my people if I bring them in? And our answer is, we're going to do even better than that for you. If they can find an available territory where they live, it has to be where they live, as a favor to you, we'll allow them to use your alpha credentials and pricing for them. Does that make sense? We'll allow them to get in for free as well, as a thank you to you. You're responsible for them, so don't bring on people that will embarrass you or be an embarrassment to us. Does that make sense? Because all the territories will be gone soon. Let's not give them away for free to people you don't believe in. Does that make sense? So we're going to count on you to bring in people that you respect and you know will make you and make all of us proud. And so on that note, let's talk about next steps. How do you go about securing your exclusive territory? I mentioned you got to secure it. They're assigned on a first come, first served basis. And so I'm going to ask Brian to step in right now and help us take a look at how we secure our territory. And right after that, we'll go to the conclusion and questions and answers. So Brian, if you could jump in, please.
Thanks, JC. Very exciting stuff. Just give me 1 second to pull up my screen so I can walk everyone through next steps. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see my screen here now. So in a moment, this is where you can go to move forward, check out your territory. So let me just walk you through the process. So right now, as JC said, we're recording this presentation, and our objective is to, on this page, is down below, we'll be adding all the clips of this video that answer specific questions about the opportunity. So that way, you know, if you want to learn more about, you know, watch what we talked about the mission, or how do you earn, or what is the work that you're going to be doing, anything that we talked about today, also any questions that come up at the end of this call, we'll add all of that onto this page so you can come and reference it at any point in time. And basically just clicking on one of these will show the video here. As you can see, we just have a placeholder letting you know the call's being recorded, and it'll be up there in a few hours. So that's the first thing with this page. The other important thing on this page is there's a link to the earnings calculator. So that's the you know, spreadsheet that JC was showing you all earlier, where you can add in different variables on, you know, how you think that you might build out your territory. So just click this link, it'll download it. There's also a link to it down here below. And so that's pretty much what's on this first page. Is it's going to have everything that we talked about today on this call in question format, and then you can get the earnings calculator. Once you feel like you have a handle on everything, then the next step is to move forward and secure your territory. So let's go through how that'll look. So I just clicked on the secure your territory button there. So on this page, as JC mentioned, you know, this is currently, you know, the free setup fee, no cost. That's only to you. So in order to access that, what we need from you is to enter in the email address that you had associated to your Empower account. Likely you either still use it or you know it, because that's how we reached out to most of you. If for whatever reason it's not working, go ahead and click this link right to us, and we'll have a few other details that we'll ask you for to try and, you know, make sure that you actually were an Empower Alpha citizen, or you are invited by one. I know everyone on this call is one though. So so the person that comes in, either yourself, click on I am or was an Empower Alpha citizen, or that you are invited by someone else. In both cases, as JC said, they can use your Alpha email credentials to get the same deal. So let's go ahead and do that here. So now we're on step one. So step one is really just about you going and finding out what territory you want to take, seeing if it's available or not. As a reminder, your territory is basically the stores and restaurants that are located within a 2-mile or 3.2-kilometer radius around the college or university in your area. You're going to want to be local to that area because you'll want to, meet the merchants, the store owners face to face from time to time. So you'll want to pick something that's close to you. So the first thing is just put in your phone number. I'm just going to put in something here. And then you want to search for your school. So I'm going to pick one that I know is already taken just so you can see what that looks like. So in this case, USC, University of Southern California, we have a manager already is working on that territory. And so you can see here that school is taken. Please select another school. So let's go in. I know of one that is not taken. Let's say, Texas Culinary Academy. So this school is available, so I can move forward. We have a pretty extensive database of colleges and universities, but every now and then we do come across some that we just didn't have for whatever reason. If you put in a school that is local to your area, and this could be a junior college, a specialty school, or just a large, main university, as long as it's a, college campus where people are going to get a degree, that's what's important. If you can't find it when you search, click on this link that says can't find your school. We'll ask you for a couple of details, including the URL of the school, so that way we can check to make sure it's a legitimate school. And assuming it is, we'll add it into our database, and then we'll send you an email. We'll also send you a text message since we'll have your phone number at that point, so that you know that it's there and you can come and claim it. So in this case, just so we can keep going forward, I found a school that's available. So I'm going to go to the next step. And so now is where I get to pick my position and track. So the first one, district, division, or zone. Now I know JC just said, in order to be a division manager, you need to build your team, bring on 2 people first, and zone, that's 5. But pick which one that you want to strive to be, so that way we, know what you're working towards. So pick whatever one you feel is the best fit for you here. I'll pick zone manager. And then here's where you pick your track. So standard, or if you want double earnings from the standard, pick fast. Or if you want triple earnings from the standard, pick founder. So make those picks and then move on. And then finally, we're basically on like a summary page. So, I see that I chose my zone manager founder track. That's my position and track. I have the territory that's available. And then you see here that the normal cost for, because I have the highest available that I chose, that's completely free for you as Alpha Citizen discount for both you and anyone that you want to bring onto your team using your credentials. Then you have the support fee, which because I picked the founder track is at $59. So that's $29 for standard, $44 for fast, or $59 for founder, totally up to you. And so then now the final thing, just to secure my territory, is you'll just want to pay for your first month support fee. So come in here, put in your information, put in your phone number. You can do credit card or PayPal. Make the payment, and then you'll be taken to a final page that says congratulations, you've the territory is now yours. And so then the next step after that point is we want to get you all the access to, we'll set you up with a company email, access to multiple apps, one of them being your CRM that you'll use to start adding merchants in. We're going to send that all to you via email, and it's going to be to the email that you put in here in this page. So make sure that you might have used one email to access this whole entire area that you used for Empower, but if you have another email that you prefer, please make sure that you put that one here, because that's where we're going to be sending you all the details after this. Let me just pull up that email really quick so that you can see what it looks like. So as I mentioned in the email, we'll have two things at the top. One is your login details for the email account that we'll create for you. This is just all an example. And this is going to be on Gmail. So you'll just go to gmail.com, and it's a business premium account on Google there. And then you'll also, with the exact same credentials, you'll have access to our CRM system, and also to some other apps that you'll learn about more once you get into training. So you'll have that. And then for team communication is we've set up a Slack channel. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Slack, it's basically like a way, like a chat kind of app where you can have different channels, and pretty much all of our territory managers are in there. So anytime someone has ideas or questions, or just wants to say hi to people, they're all in there. So that's where you can go and find a lot of information and just get advice, things like that. In particular, to all of you, we've set up a new channel, and it's called Alpha Citizens. So once you go and set up your Slack account, which is it's free, it's included. So you just click there. You'll have to put in a few details, and then you'll have the account. Once you're there, just make sure that you go to the Alpha Citizens channel. Look, we have a lot of people that are interested in this, and so we feel like everything's going to be working smoothly, but just in case there's updates, or if there's any issues where we're having a slowness to support you, we're going to post things to that channel, so that way it's much easier for us to give you updates there, as opposed to dealing with hundreds or thousands of emails. So just make sure you sign up there and join that channel, so that way you can be up to date on things. And then most importantly is we want to get you to start getting trained, so that way you can start building out your territory. So in a separate email, not this one that you'll get automatically, we're going to send an email to the Gmail account that we made for you. And in there is going to be an invite to our training platform. It's a whole video training platform where there's a lot of good stuff in there. So you'll be able to basically learn at your own pace via video. And then also we're going to connect you with a personal trainer. So basically another territory manager that is experienced, has been building out their territory, and they're going to be working with you one-on-one, setting up weekly calls with you, basically helping you in whatever you need every step along the way. And so that's what you can expect once you've gone there and secured your territory. One last thing, just to go back to where we were, is just again to clarify, once you have set up your territory, if you're aiming to get to be a division manager or a zone manager, all you need to do is just give the same email address that you used on Empower, the same one that you would use here to get through the process. Just give it to the people that you want to have on your team, and then have them just pick this option, the I was invited by someone else. They'll put in your email, follow the same steps as you, and then they'll be set up with their territory and be on your team. And that is pretty much everything there is to that. JC will put up on the screen here the links to this website momentarily. So let me hand it back to you, JC.
Hey, I warned you early on that a little bad luck here. They're testing the fire alarm system. So if you hear some noises like that, that's what that's all about. So my apologies to you. Hopefully it's the end of it. we kind of got lucky. As soon as Brian started speaking, the alarms went off then. Okay, so hopefully we'll get some quiet from the alarm and we'll get going again. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Made everything very, very clear. Let's see. Let's get back to, we are almost done here, folks. So conclusion, what will we accomplish together in 2021? Well, first of all, we sincerely hope that the team that's been working on all these things for you has made you proud with what they've accomplished during 2020. Like I said, there was no certainty that we would be able to figure out everything. But boy, these people have worked really hard. You obviously know Brian. I can tell you that he hasn't had a singular day off since 2019. This business is such that there's so many moving parts and so many people working everywhere, engineers around the world, literally, that need things, and he's just been the person to do that. And again, all that, he's not a family, not a single penny in compensation to him. So I hope he's made you proud. I hope Bob's made you proud. I'm just thinking of who else you know here. You don't really know a lot of the engineers, but with what they've accomplished and the opportunity that they've prepared for you, folks, it is no small thing that together we're going to turn that red line around. This red line is not going to slow down because technology is going to continue to make it easier for people to monopolize global industries, and they'll all be Wall Street funded. So that red line's not turning around. Together, we can turn it around by getting millions and then billions of users into the platform. And those profits that we would normally have, like most companies, we pump it back to our users. It acts as stimulus that they can spend at local merchants, or they can spend it with anybody trying to sell products and services. And the side effect of that is that red line turns around. This thing, nothing's happening, folks. And just the amount of species being removed from the planet and all the damage, again, go back to that section if you need to pay closer attention to the damage being done there. But we can do this by changing this idea we all have in our heads that we have to own everything, and make it more convenient for people to have access to virtually everything they need, the push of a button, just like getting a car, just like getting an Uber. Now you can have access to anything you want. These two alone should make this whole thing worth doing. But when you look at what's happening to the small businesses around the world, including stores and restaurants, as you saw there, I hope you can see we're going to make a massive difference there as well. And finally, if you are a big fan of democracy, like we are, and you see the damage being done to that and so many other things by social media, the fact that we've got a better way for people to do things, and they don't have to understand. But most of the consumers that come in don't have to understand any of what we're trying to do from a mission perspective. They just have to do what's in it for them, their self-interest, and these things kind of take care of themselves. And so finally, the moment we've been waiting for, the beta launch, it's here, right? We're starting globally right now. Everything that we showed you here, the marketing approaches and the compensation methodologies and everything that our alpha users were working on this year, and then these experts that came in, it's all happening right now. You can secure your piece of that platform, your exclusive territory that you can own and sell. You saw it all. You can get it without any cost. You've got a small support fee, just so you know you're alive and kicking out there. Everything you need is being provided, including comprehensive training and coaching from some of the best, most successful, proven experts. You will have access to these people on an ongoing and weekly basis. And they'll tell you their backgrounds and the businesses they built in this same market, in the college market. You're gonna have everything you need to succeed. You will need to focus, you will need to work. Without that, you will fail. Especially there'll be minimum standards. So people that aren't serious about this, it's not about paying a $29 or a $44 support fee and you get to keep this territory and sell it later. It doesn't work like that. If you're not willing to get out there and do what it takes to build up your territory, you can't keep the territory. Does that make sense? We can provide everything that's needed, but at the end of the day, you've got to step up and do the work. Territories assigned on a first come, first served basis. If it's taken, there's nothing we can do about that. Please do not write to support. We don't have a large support team that can answer thousands of questions from people relating to this stuff. Instead, look for another available territory and secure it quickly. Listen, if the school you want, the college university is not available, grab another one next to it. If the school you want is not in our database, write to us. It's about the businesses, right? No matter where the consumers go to school, they're going into those businesses. So it's really about the businesses. So grab another school. It doesn't matter if another school is 5 times larger. The school you have, even if it's right next to it, it has the same circumference in all those businesses. And so if there's 2 schools next to each other and businesses that are close to both, it's whoever gets there first and grabs that business first. Does that make sense? So don't get too bogged down with the school. If the school you want is not available, grab the one next to it and get out there and sign up the businesses. You can sell your business at any time, including back to the platform. Your old Empower coins will be added to your account shortly after your area is launched. If you don't want to be a manager, then you just need to wait for a manager to launch your territory, and then the system goes live in your area. The new beta coins will be stable in price. They'll be stabilized at $100. Up to $1 million in new coins at that stable price will be granted to each manager that simply gets off to a fast start, meaning in their first 4 months, they get off, they watch the training, they do what's required to get off and start succeeding. You can earn from your territory in 11 different ways. And so the question you have is, where can you find that earnings calculator? Just go to beta.empowr.com, right? And there's an earnings calculator link at the top of the page. There's another one at the bottom of the page. And that's where you go to grab your territory as well. So go grab your territory before it is taken. And the calculator is right there. Just click the link and download it. And again, along with the earnings, just keep in mind why we're here. This is why we're here. It's good that we can make this into a business opportunity for everyone. We're excited to do that. And so on that note, we get to our questions and answers. I know this has gone long. I apologize it's taken so long. So let's see if we can handle a few questions, and then we'll try to end the conversation here in about 10 minutes so that we wrap up at the 2.5 hour mark. So on that note, we'll go to some questions. Brian, if you can help me sort through some of the questions. First one I'm seeing is there are colleges near 2.1, 2.8, 3.3, and 4 miles away. How will that work with territory requirements? So I think what you may be referring to is the fact that some colleges are very close to each other. And so some of the businesses will belong to either one, right? And so as I mentioned, what happens in a situation like that is whoever signs up that business first, that becomes part of their territory. I hope that's answering your question. Let me see, I can stop sharing my screen too, if that's helpful here. All right. When will I get my old coins? As I mentioned, your old coins will be added to your account when your territory is launched. Does that make sense? So after your beta territory is launched, your old coins will be added to that. And the new coins that you get as a bonus have to do with the first 4 months. As you start with a manager, those are bonus coins and those are free for managers. What if my territory is taken? Like I said, take another school. It's really not so much about the school, it's about the merchants, right? So if there's 2 schools next to each other, try to take the larger one, but if it's not available, take a smaller one. If that's not in our database, let us know, and we'll add it to the database so you can go and grab it. I don't want to be a manager, but I want to be a guide. I want to be a success coach. I want to be a driver. I don't want any of those other positions. I want to be a user. Is that okay? Absolutely. Remember, when the territory gets to 200 signups, the apps open up. So that way, immediately there's a critical mass of users, and you can join and do everything you can as a user, sign up as a guide, what have you. Are the merchants paid in cryptocurrency? No, the merchants are paid in US dollars or in the local currency in your area, in your country. Same thing with you, by the way. Managers for their territories are paid in the local currency, not in cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is only the bonus. Does that make sense? The bonuses that you'll earn, that having to do with that getting off to a fast start the first 4 months, there's a crypto bonus. But outside of that, everything is in your local currency. Same thing with the college students. They earn local currency. Why is that? Because we wanted to keep it simple for the merchants, for the managers, for the college students that may not have heard about us, don't understand cryptocurrency. We just said, you know what, let's just pay them all in local currency. It's something that they understand. So when does the platform open to non-students? So after your area reaches 5,000 student signups, we then open it up to non-students. Having said that, some of the merchants are asking already that they don't care for them just to be students, they want non-students. So we built functionality in there for each merchant to tell us within their CRM tool if they want non-students. And that way, when non-students come in, we can start pointing them. So that can happen almost immediately in your area. There really isn't a holdup for that. How do the MRBs earn, the college students that work for you, and how much do they earn? It's in the calculator. Just notice underneath your manager earnings, on the left side, you can see the commission breakdown. On the right side, you can see a graph of their earnings based on your settings. All of this will be covered in training, by the way. Everything will be covered in training, and you'll have one-on-ones with your coach and weekly meetings. Don't worry if any of this sounds complicated. It won't be after just a few days or weeks. It's all there. What will the name of the platform be? Will it? We're going to do that by vote, but most likely Empower, right? But of course, like everything going on in our platform, it'll be democratic. There'll be a new presidential election as we get going, and a new president will be elected, and we'll get back to, having our product live and communicating as we always do in that manner. But right now, it's time for managers to launch their territories and get the ball moving. So on that note, I know we're running out of time. Again, you go to beta.empowr.com, beta.empowr, empowr.com. That's where you can find the calculator. That's where you can grab your territory. And use the email address that you used in your Empower account. If you can't remember your email address, then let us know there, and we can try to work it out and go find it for you. You'll give us your phone number, and we'll find you that way. Remember, when your contacts come in, they can use your account, your Empower email address. When they do that in the system, they will report to you. Does that make sense? If you want, and they can do the same thing, by the way. They can bring on their friends in the same exact manner. When they do that, they should have their friends use their address if they want them reporting to them. So whose email address they use determines the reporting structure, and that can change later. But we need that at first to be automated like that, so we can support everybody that's trying to grab their territory without inundating customer service with the big push here. All right, on that note, I just want to take a moment to thank you for hearing us out, for listening, and for your patience this last year as you waited, probably wondering, where were we? What are we doing? Now you know. And I'm excited to get to work with you, as is Brian, as are all of us. We're excited to finally get out there and show the world what it is that we built together. So on that note, have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and we'll see you on the platform soon. Bye-bye.